We have a special guest speaker tonight from, as you know from the agenda, a former state representative from Belknap County who served with distinction on the delegation, and I wish she would be living back here in Belknap County and running again. So I'd like to ask the Honorable Jane Cormier to come forward and give us some thoughts.
Thank you very much for allowing me to speak here. I am an outsider right now, right? Although I wish I wasn't. I work now in Manchester, and probably a year or two down the road, I'm going to find my way right back here to Belknap County because I believe it's the best county in the state of New Hampshire, and I really do believe that after seeing most of New Hampshire when I was in office. I have to say that because I teach now, I teach in a public charter school in Manchester, and I do try to do my best to stay in the loop of what's going on, but behind the scenes. And I'm usually very quiet unless something really stokes the fire, so to speak. I just watch and sort of pass stuff along in a private way to just be present, I guess, in the discussion. A few days ago, however, I came upon an article in the New Hampshire Review. And you know what? There was so much in that article that I thought, oh my gosh, when you just read it, it's bad enough. But when you read how it's written and you read what's between the lines, it just blew my mind. And I actually asked around and said, could I please just come and throw 10 minutes at you just to see what you think, just so that you can think about it, and then I can go to sleep and feel like I didn't just bypass something that I felt was important. So that's why I'm here. And I just want to read a little bit. First of all, this article was a political PAC, a new political PAC, telling us about this PAC, Citizens for Belknap, and how they were for getting rid of extremists, and how they had a multitude of Republicans supporting. Make no mistake, if there's nothing else that anyone takes home tonight, we have never before played the game of words like we are playing now. And I could say this from the one day of research I did on this. And I've been doing my due diligence in the background. This thing blew my mind at how well this was put together and organized, and far beyond what we think as a nice little pack here in New Hampshire that got together to go, rah, rah, let's get rid of those extremists. This is not what's happening, and I think it's very, very important that you know. Again, all just my opinion, right? So here's a quote from the article. Brian Beal, a seasoned campaign consultant, indeed, and organizer who is overseeing the undertaking, said he is pleased by the initial response to the effort from voters. In particular, he pointed to a number of longtime Republicans disaffected by the pretense of extremists and radicals disguising themselves as Republicans. Think about that. Wow, I said, this is not a regular person writing this paragraph.
No.
So who is he? Go back. I find out that this gentleman is someone that you should remember to beware of. He is the deputy of Open Democracy New Hampshire. Now, Open Democracy New Hampshire is, and you can't find the linchpin. This is why I say that the words are so important, and these groups now are becoming so good. In the old days, 10 years ago, you could find the wording right there. You could catch the linchpin. You go, oops, there it is. Now they're so good that when you go back through their records 5 years, you have a hard time figuring out who they are. So this Open Democracy New Hampshire is part of this country's movement, funded heavily by George Soros, the Tides Foundation, which should send chills through you, and I would say 20 other global entities funneling money to Open New Hampshire. Now we have Open Democracy New Hampshire. They're in Open Democracy, but now we have Open Democracy New Hampshire. How'd that happen? What are they doing here in Belknap? First of all, understand that the article said nothing about that. Here we were, what we know. He's a seasoned campaign consultant. If you go to the European entity of Open Democracy, it's a full thrust on every single issue we are fighting as conservatives in this country. But see, in Open Democracy here in New Hampshire, they want campaigning and election laws changed. That's their number one thing. And I have all kinds of info here I copied if anybody's interested, but page after page. You can't find anything about so much the social debate, what we're going through in the world right now, right? It's all about this campaign thing. Holy moly, what the heck's going on? So I just would like us to think about this. And you know what? You have to excuse me if I speak out of turn here, because I haven't been the one in the battlefield for gun stock. I've been reading about it. I know a little bit about it. I've been reading a little bit about it. And I know that it has been this controversy that has been used because personalities became involved. And I believe there was a human element here in New Hampshire of people that were so angry they thought we'll do anything to get rid of these conservatives. They are stopping us from moving forward, right? And I think there was so much anger. And there's anger on both sides. Let's be honest, okay? But that's okay. There's anger on both sides. I say that's fair game. If it's New Hampshire and you want to pack and you want to pack and you want to pack, you go get them, because that's your right. But that's not what happened here. This is why I think someone has to stop and look at how this happened. What Republican, because I understand that it's mostly all Republicans that is in this issue to get gun stock, blown up, right? I think that we mostly have Republicans. I'm not going to go into the names. Who went to Open Democracy New Hampshire and pulled them in?
Very tight ass.
No names. No names. But let me tell you, at the very least, Open Democracy New Hampshire saw this as a huge way to jump on here and blow this up. We don't know if these men that were so angry, here in New Hampshire, went to their office, which is in Concord, New Hampshire, on Park Street. This man, Brian Beal, is from Antrim. He has no connection here. Someone made that connection. And for that alone, they should be outed. Because what they're doing here is stopping every single person in this county from having the truth about these situations that they're having to now vote around. This article was such a propaganda hit piece that I knew from reading it that it did not come from, this was written by an organization that knew how to do it. Big time. The next day, 5 people texted me, some with pictures of the signs that started popping up. So what did they do? They timed it, right? They timed the articles to run, had all their little signs ready to go. Mind you, the price on those signs, they have the little scan thing right on there, huh? That's not a little bitty PAC from New Hampshire. That's someone that knows how to get business done. Scan that sucker, you get all of the stuff, right? That they want you to feed on, right? That they want people to believe is true. It's not true. This was a planned, organized event. The political registration for citizens of Belknap, citizensforbelknap.org, was on May 15th. They had a lot of time. The chairperson is Alan Posnack, and the treasurer is Brian Gallagher. Now, we won't even discuss, does this have a conflict with our own GOP rules? Is it ethical in a primary? I don't know. We've had that debate for years. I've been part of it myself on the other end, so totally understand. But the bigger question is, how did that relationship get made? So, therefore, open democracy, New Hampshire, political equity for all. Anytime you see equity, run the other direction. Well-funded, they have, now I couldn't find anything on their funding, but they have to be well-funded. Those signs were not cheap.
Now it's in the paper too.
Yeah, well, they're gonna believe me, they've got money coming in. It's not grassroots, so here's where I go. Now this is where I used to get that little moniker that I had the tinfoil hat when I was in the State House. And I used to laugh at them. I'd go down to speak at the lawn and they'd say, oh, here's the one with the tinfoil hat. Well, I got a tinfoil hat on right now. Here's where I'm going with this. Belknap County in the state of New Hampshire has been, I think, since 2010, if I'm not mistaken, maybe before. I haven't really paid attention before that. The one conservative county the state could count on. Right? Really, it has. And they have noticed the so-called RINOs notice. The Democrats notice. And I think that well beyond just trying to mess up the election for the delegation, which is probably true, that is not where they're going. Because if they bring down Belknap County, they now know how to bring down every single conservative county in this state, if there are any other conservative counties like us. That's where open democracy in New Hampshire is. That's their whole thing, change electioneering. How do you do that? You've got to get the folks in the seats to change the laws. And if we can bring down Belknap County, all the other counties, you know that. I mean, you guys know that. You certainly, the politicians, how all the politicians get together and go, oh, do you see what happened to Belknap? That's what people do. What does that do for the political organizing groups? Empowers them. Empowers them. Look what they did. So, I'm going to leave that here. I will cry if we do not maintain our conservative. Listen, guys, you got to keep it for 2 more years so that when I come back, I could join you again. But beyond that, you have to make sure that you work together now. And there should be no anger on any of this right now, because this is a big one. And this isn't about one person getting beat in the race anymore, in my mind. It's not just about losing an election, although I know that that's hard to hear when we're legislators, right? It's about saving the county, because the lay folk do not understand this. How could they?
Right.
How could they get it? So,
Deception.
yeah, it's total deception, and it's well done deception. And we all have to come together and find a way to beat it.
Make sure you keep an eye on who they endorse and vote the other way.
Yep.
Yeah, this room is no problem. We know this room is going to probably do the right thing, right? But it's the other people, all of the independents in this state are going to determine this. And when they see those signs, what do they think? Oh, man, maybe we should rethink this, right? Find out what you did so well and keep giving that. Get off of the push for the gun stop. We're way beyond that. Push everything good you guys did in this delegation.
It's not just the signs. If you open Google this morning, the very first is a picture of Bill. And an explanation.
Bad dude, man.
And doesn't he look so happy?
No. Do you know how stark that is? It's true.
He looks very unhappy.
Mean man.
Yeah.
What was the name? What is the camera back there?
Brian Beal. B-E-I-H-L.
would it be correct to assume that there are similar organizations in other states?
Yes.
And could we tie them together with a similar organization, for example, in Illinois, that elected prosecutors like Fox, who doesn't prosecute criminals, or similar organizations elected Bowdoin in San Francisco, and the guys all around the country, they elect prosecutors who won't prosecute,
Right.
except for prosecuting law-abiding people if they
Indeed.
can,
Yeah,
and try and elect state secretaries of state
Yeah.
who will change
Do
the
what they
election
want.
laws to.
it's the same
to-
thing.
Same.
You are seeing the same thing.
We need to try and tie them together with this other stuff, it seems to me.
Absolutely, it's true.
So one of the problems that I see is that this group most likely,
Stand up.
this
louder.
group, Doug Lambert, I think this group most likely, as you said, got brought in by somebody on the inside.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, and I think that you say we have to work together, but there is a certain element, there may be one or two in this room,
Mm-hmm, true.
that are willing water carriers for
Yes.
this, and they're willing to sell their soul in
For a win.
order to win
That's right.
and take these guys out. And I think that they're doing a couple of things. They've got the gun stock thing, but that article also mentioned the nursing home, and they're going after the people that don't pay attention to this
Right,
stuff.
exactly,
And they're trying to hook them
exactly.
in. I think that what it really is for the locals and for the RINOs is that for many, many years, back in '06, '07, '08, myself and a couple of people were very active at the county level, begging the then Republican delegation to take a look.
Yeah,
These guys have done it. Our delegation has done the hard work. It's more than just gun stock. Gun stock
Absolutely.
was like a, very emotional issue.
absolutely.
Okay,
You're
but
right.
there are some insidious players at work here. If you read the paper today, there's an article about the county commission, and that other senator of ours, that traitor, that absolute turncoat, Bob Guida, he has done a lot of damage to these guys. And the words he used in the article today are the same words that come off of those signs.
Okay.
Extremists in the such.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful. We can't just say we have to work together.
Right.
Oh.
Though there has to be something behind the work together, for sure.
Right.
And you know what? You're not going to ever be able to stop the few that will do what they're going to do. That's life. You can't. We all know that. That always happens, no matter where you are, right? But what you can do is make sure you're not playing to what they want, which is the heated debate of where the anger is. So you're talking about how much you saved in taxes, how much your tax bill would have gone up. We saved you in that. We did this in the beginning. Norm, you gave I think it was you or Miss Paul, yes,
Yeah.
that said the good things. They've got to keep hearing, reading that. And that is what folks care about. We're having hard times right now. Gun stock might be one thing, and they can talk extremists all they want, but when you can't pay to fill your gas tank, the dialogue is different.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you just got to stay on that. So that, yes.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
No, I was just gonna make a statement, what Representative Terry said, before about the good things that the delegation has done. That needs to be emphasized.
Yes.
In an ad, in letters to the editor and so forth. And another we participate sometimes in Mark Allegrio's group, Take Back New
Yes,
Hampshire up in
wonderful group.
Rumney. And one of the men there had mentioned that a good thing that Democrats are good at is instilling fear in people.
Yes.
And we have to do it on our end.
That's right.
If you don't vote for us, your taxes are gonna go up, your utility bills, whatever it is. That's the tactic. It's almost like a military strategy. If you instill fear in people, they're gonna be like, oh my God, I can't vote
You know
for
what?
these."
You're right. Some
So
people
we
think
have
that.
to counter it the same way.
Okay, I agree with the counter. I think maybe the effectiveness of the upbeat news is maybe better than more downside, like they do, like the
Well,
fear
it could be a
mongering.
balance,
But
but-
countering, absolutely. I think, anyway. Yes.
Is
there a way to access this article in the New Hampshire Review?
Um,
Is there a link or?
NHBR.
Yeah, online. Okay.
I'm glad you knew that.
Skip?
Jane wrote a story for Granite Rock. The link to the NHBR article is in there. I dryly note, and that's a bit of sarcasm whenever I use the word dryly, that some of you may remember the name Mike Kitch, who used to write for the Daily Sun.
Yeah.
He hates those that are successful, is really an uber progressive, bordering on the socialist. He and I have history, and maybe I need to write about that again. But he wrote that article. He also attacked Greg Huff in the paper today, and made a factual mistake, which I will be answering as well.
Wow.
Mike is going to be their quote-unquote ghostwriter.
Right.
He's very good at what he does, and he tries very hard to persuade. I understand that the Pravda on the Lake has really reduced its letter writer ability. But I really would urge you that you're only limited to one a week, but there's what, 50 people here? You have trouble writing a letter? Get a hold of me, I will coach you through it. Because there's lots of people here that are gonna be tainted by either endorsements of the PAC or by that senator that was mentioned earlier. Others by their votes or their walk away on the parental bill of rights. There's a lot of stuff to, I'm famous for saying, I'm tired of Republicans fighting by the Marcus of Queensberry boxing rules, and Democrats are doing MMA. And I have no problem getting into the mud that they want. So that's what we're up against. And I know that somebody said that there were 4 names that need to be outed. Please come talk to me later.
Okay, Tom, and then,
Yeah, just a quick point. I think we have one tangible weapon that we can employ, and we've talked about it briefly in the past, and that's censure. And we have some people that can be censured, even if it's for attendance. If the Belknap County comes out and censures some of these enemies, then we can use that in the letters to the Grock and to the Pravda on the Lake.
Tom?
Tom Ploshay. Did I understand your signs has a scannable
Yes.
QR code.
QR
Absolutely.
code? So someone with technology could put that out to the public.
Yep.
Would that help?
Yeah, you know what, I'm sure it's just going to be stuff that's right off their website. What they've done is the scanning code is the Citizens for Belknap website.
Oh.
But you won't find anything about open democracy because they don't want you to know that. So that's the dirty secret. Open democracy, open democracy, open democracy.
Yeah.
Just keep saying it, and because it really will make a difference, especially in the independent vote, I believe.
This is probably the timely moment for this. It's anticipating an action that will, a conversation that will be taking place amongst the 5 members of the executive committee at a special called meeting next Tuesday, and an action which I believe will likely be taken, and that is the development of statements of truth to counter the lies that are already being spread, and talking points that we would distribute to you as members of the Belknap County Republican Committee as the substance and the content of letters that we would like you to write to your local papers.
Yeah. Yep.
Right now you're probably asking yourselves, what can I do? And what do I write? And I have no idea. We will supply you with the information, and then we're going to hope and pray that you will actually draft letters, and if you need help with the letters, just contact any one of us up here or Skip, and we'll, if you wanna run it by us first and say, what do you think about this, that's fine. You don't have to do that, but we'd be happy to give you our comments. But we're gonna provide you with this kind of information so that you can write effective letters to the editor online and also the print publications.
Jane, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, good, Barbara?
Cooked.